Hi, welcome to this overview of our policy management acknowledgement process for version 16. I'm Jeff Crosman, product manager here at SP Marketplace. As an end user and as a person setting up acknowledgements, we're going to walk through the process today and give you an idea how that works. We have on this page that you're looking at, this is what we call the staff or the department portal. When setting up a policy acknowledgement, you would go into the policy management item, and we want to set up an item in here. In this demo, you can see there's several that have been set up previously. We'll just take this drug policy. When setting up a new one, you can add a new one here. I'm going to open this drug policy 2026, and we can walk that through. Pretty straightforward. When filling out fields, there's a title. This will be what will be filled out as the subject. All status for the review status starts in process, and we'll walk through the different statuses in a second. The due date is what you want to put down as the date that you would like all acknowledgements to be returned by. So end users know that when this date is here, this is when they need to return the acknowledgements. Email text would also work for both email that is sent out to the end user, as well as there is a card that shows up if they're using Microsoft Teams, and this is the text that would go in there. This is our new drug policy for 2026. Please acknowledge by the end of the month of December. Comments is just information that you want to put in there. Go anywhere. It's more just for notes or comments. The last several fields are critical to the acknowledgement. The first one is the reminder days. In this case, they want to be notified 22 days. They want to notify the end user if they haven't received a acknowledgement back from an end user. You can change this. Most people would put in this field probably like 4 days before the due date, maybe 5 days before the due date. And then what that would do is send an email and a Teams reminder to the end users that have not acknowledged a policy, reminding them that they need to do so with a link to the page to acknowledge them. You pick the policy or policies needed that you want to send out. In this case, if it's one policy, this was just the drug test policy, you just go into the drop down here and pick from any of the published policies. If you want to send to an individual as opposed to a group, the way that groups work is, in this case, Idaho employees would have a number of employees in it, and that is the specific group that the policy acknowledgements will go to. We have an all employee policy group. You can do any subset of the policy group, all employees. You can do any subset of that for specifics, executives or European employees or North American employees, however you'd like to segregate the all employees group. Say you have a new hire or other situation where you just want to send it to an individual, then you just slide this over, and then this field changes dynamically so you can pick who you want to send the policy to. Okay, once that is completed, you can see that it will sit here in the in process state. So remember, it started starting state. Now it's going to move to in process. What this does in the back end now is there will be a flow, several flows that run, and it will send out, as I mentioned before, a email and also a notification within Microsoft Teams that this policy has been published and needs to be acknowledged by that due date and that information that was contained there in this policy management item. An end user, once they get to the email, will have a link to this page, which we title My Policies Portal page. This is where end users can search all published policies, find whatever ones that have been published, and then they have a view into the My Policy acknowledgements. They can see their acknowledgements and theirs alone. They will be able to come in and have a record here for their own information, as well as this is contained on the back end for audit purposes and managers and such. But as you can see in this list, for me, there are several that have been acknowledged. If I go and there's one that's been past due, this is what will happen. It'll turn red. If I wanted to acknowledge the drug policy here, I would simply open it up, read the policy, and click the Acknowledge Policy button. Now, I'm not going to do this one, but to show you how that looks, we'll go down here to the handbook. And once I've clicked this button, it will turn into policy acknowledged. So now that it's acknowledged, it'll switch the status to acknowledged and the acknowledged date, right? Here's the due date, here is the acknowledged date. And from an employee standpoint, that is how they would fully acknowledge a policy. On the back end, or again, staff or supervisors, managers, whoever's managing this policy item, you will see that this then will change to completed. And for audit purposes, if you ever want to go in and look at policy acknowledgements, this is the complete list of acknowledgements that were sent out to every employee, the acknowledged date or the not acknowledged, when it was sent, and some additional details, what was sent, who the employee is, and so forth. On this list in SharePoint, we have broken down by views because, as you can imagine, this list can get quite long. So we have it filtered by, you can look at just the acknowledged ones, by status, by employee, and there's several other views as well within this list. As always, and with SharePoint, you can set up your own view or views so that this can be tailored to however makes the most sense and visibility for you as the manager or supervisor to see information that you would like. There are areas here to set up those policy groups and then the employees as well. So from a policy acknowledgement standpoint, the cycle is completed once a policy management item is created, sent out to an end user, it'll be in the sent state, and then once the end user acknowledges, it will confirm acknowledged with a date time stamp that you can use again for review and or audit purposes going forward. This concludes the policy acknowledgement of our policy management product. Thank you for watching.